Were there any painful situations in your life that actually became like your greatest blessing?
Toxic marriage. A woman can be either a victim or a villain.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, happily be a villain.
Good.
Many alphas agree to this. Men and women are not equal. Women are more powerful. Many founders make this mistake. Many entrepreneurs make this mistake. But what differentiates a founder from the others is a founder's energy is what
Propels the.
not just propels.
When we talk about children,
If the child is not going to accept the no in the house, how the child is going to accept the no in the society?
when it comes to any kind of a partnership, what is the kind of power do you think a woman carries there?
So if life is a restaurant, you choose the people who will sit at your table.
At your table.
Where you'll be sharing food.
Yeah.
Other people can sit in other tables.
Yeah.
You can just say hi, bye.
Right. Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of the Wow Show. And today I have a very vibrant guest. She is Swarnamukhi Raghupati. She is a fantastic entrepreneur. She is a passionate dancer. And when I started following her on Instagram, she was this person who was so passionate about cooking as well. We go way back from the COVID time where I have been her guest during one of her Instagram lives. And today I think life comes a full circle where she is my guest today and I can't wait to talk with her. Thank you so much for being on my show. It truly means a lot.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Malika. It means a lot.
Thank you. It's such
I'm so
a
glad
pleasure.
to be here.
So sweet. So looking back at your younger self from your childhood, what do you think were the experiences that actually shaped you to who you are today? Both it can be in life and in business as well.
So my father was B.G. Raghupati, one of the top industrialists. He passed away in 2013, but he's a pioneer in power business. And I'm the eldest of the four of us. So first for life, if you see, being the eldest, you're always, I think you're the more responsible one in the family.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of has continued to take responsibility, to be accountable, to take care of others. That whatever I did in the family, now that emotion is with the people in my company. And number two, my father was a very, 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 very big part of the vision I have for life. He was a big inspiration. Till date, he continues to be my biggest mentor. Because from literally he was raised in a village. He did his college in a very small town. He moved to Chennai for job, and from there, without any background, without anybody as a
Self-made.
he's self-made without any push. So he has created this huge vision for himself, and he has left behind such a big legacy. So Anal, to see him, he's such a dreamer. At home, I used to see him literally dreaming. At his desk, he'll be thinking, he'll be dreaming. So, and whatever he dreamt of, he achieved it also. So, if you want to achieve something, first you have to have the courage to dream big, right? So, about having a higher inspiration, your aspiration, dream higher, dream bigger. I think this is a very, very important part of my life and the business. And even in terms of the targets I set for myself, the goals I set for others, for the companies. So I think these two are very, very important. Being the eldest, you also tend to be the more perfectionist. I had to undo that in the last 5 years. I had to undo being wanting to be perfect, being able to control everything to go in your way. It doesn't happen that way, and you're just stressing yourself out, and it also kind of affects the outcome in some way, in a negative way. So that I kind of had to undo,
Also,
unlearn.
I think because I also have two sisters. I'm not the eldest, but the thing is, I feel eldest they tend to follow rules. Like when there's a rule, you tend to follow that, and like I don't follow the rules, but she does. So I
Okay.
can so relate you with my sister when you say that I have to be there, I have to be the perfectionist. Like sometimes some of the work also she feels like only if she does it it'll come out perfectly. Like that kind of a perfectionist. So
Right,
I
right.
so can see the similarity between two
Similarities.
eldest. Yeah. So was there like a turning point or a specific moment in your life that made you decide that this is going to be my path in life, like I'm going to take care of this business, or was it something that was always there?
I can divide my life into two parts, Monica. In fact, three parts, I can say. One is when my father was there, and every decision of mine, he had a huge influence. Every decision. In fact, I didn't use my decision making capabilities much because he took most of the decisions. I'm saying in a positive way. So since he kind of had that kind of influence on what I wanted, what is right, what will make him happy, etc., etc. But at the same time, life was very comfortable. So I'll work with him. I'll analyze things. I'll do all the background work. I'll put it in front of him. I had the luxury of seeing him take big decisions and sitting back, all that. But evening 6 o'clock, I'll forget all about work. I will done. It's done for the day. When I come back home, I'm this jolly girl who, whatever in the family, with my child needs or etc. etc. Not much strategizing, not much, aspirational. So this is the work. This is the best I can do. That's it. After my dad passed away, there was a huge burden, huge responsibility. I wouldn't call it burden. There was this huge responsibility because for the first time, you need to take decisions and you're not prepared for it. So, but somehow the strength, to kind of
Trust in yourself?
No, not trust. It's just that I had to keep up that image or keep up that the legacy what my dad left behind. I did not want people to see me with a pity, see my family, with a pitiful eyes. I wanted to go back to where my dad was, or even do much more than that. Okay, just to make sure that we are all. I can make a difference instead of my father. And so the lot of emotions are at play here. So that is the second portion of life where a lot were on my shoulders and my family's shoulders also. And we had to prove ourselves. I had to prove myself. That is what I can think of it. I had to prove myself. The third part of life, I think it was the most difficult that happened, I think, between 2022 and 2023-24, where my life literally broke and then I had to rebuild it again. In personal, in business, in lot of different ways. That was a very painful journey, but that was a very liberating journey. My life after that has been, you can see it on my profile itself. Before 2022, my profile will be different. After 2023, it'll be very empowering. It'll be very enlightening. Yes. Because the experiences and what I learned, you usually learn a lot from the most painful experiences in your life, right? So what I learned, that gave me, that kind of empowered me. I feel I'm the most powerful version right now. So I am very thankful for the very difficult experiences and the difficult decisions I had to take, but it's all in the right path. It put me on the right path.
I understand. So very different experiences that life put you through, but absolutely it has made you even stronger.
Right.
That is very
you cannot get these lessons from any textbook. You cannot get it from reading any motivational book, or sometimes the best impact is when you experience it and it comes from within.
Yes, so I agree that you experience it and it comes from within. But is there anybody in your life whom you tend to look up to, like a mentor or a guide, who can help you navigate through this, or you just did it by yourself?
Definitely you should have mentors.
Yeah.
Okay, because sometimes we need to be told, okay, you're on the right path. You need that. Unfortunately, we humans, we need that validation, right? Yeah. So you choose people who you really admire and who are actually making a difference, who are actually doing good for themselves, who that you can trust, and who you look up to personally.
Correct.
And then I had such mentors, thankfully.
Okay.
And I had a very, 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 very strong mentor and guide and friend. And also I looked up my father's friends, couple of them, who I really respect. I reached out to them. I have made a decision. This is my thought process. This is the decision. What do you think?
What do you think? Yeah.
You cannot go and ask, what should I do?
Correct. Yeah.
Because that, that questioning, that you have to question yourself. You need to know what you want. Whether you want to go in this path or that path. Probably you can ask somebody, if you go on this path, you can do all that analysis. What will happen here? What will happen here? But what is your gut saying? What do you want? What will make you happy?
Got it.
And then you go and say, am I right? Am I right in thinking this way? Is it the right path? But the decision has to come from you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But I think while we are breaking, that's going to be a difficult thing. But once the breaking part is done and we kind of decide that, okay, I think it's time to put it all together. I think I need to get back on track. I think that is when the decision starts coming out. And like you mentioned, when we have when we've made up our mind towards a certain choice, and then we ask a mentor or a guide who can give us, like you mentioned, that validation. Like, it's not like someone needs to validate us, but it's always nice to have this feeling that, okay, somebody who has good wisdom is guiding me right.
When we are talking, when we are on this topic, for me, visuals are very, very powerful, right? Two visuals come to my mind. One is, you must have seen it. It's I saw it on the Instagram only. One visual is a plane taking off, okay? And there is this, the video is taken from afar, and there is this, it comes from, it is taking off, and then it is going through clouds, okay? And after that, it is coming outside above the clouds.
Yeah.
When you undergo difficulty, it is a cloud face. You don't know where the plane is. You don't know where it is. You don't know where you're going.
Correct.
It is all hazy. It all looks very difficult. It all looks, always this uncertainty will be there, whether you're on the right track or not. Okay. And then when you come out of it, then it is clear sky. It is beautiful. You're on the top.
Super.
Then there is another powerful visual. There is, I don't know how this fish managed to do it. So it is a lake. And on the shore of the lake, a little bit, away from the water, is a tub of water, and there is a fish in it. And this fish jumps out of the tub into the land, and then it wriggles into the lake. And it wriggles for literally 10-20 seconds. The guts the fish had to jump out of its comfort zone, okay, and then go into that big lake. It is safe now.
Yeah.
Right? So you need a mentor when the plane is within the clouds, when your mind is hazy.
Correct.
And you need a mentor when you're actually struggling on the ground, not on your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
To guide you. Of course, the universe, God, all that is your guiding, but you need a mentor.
Yeah.
A strong mentor.
Very beautifully put about mentoring and mentorship. So you did mention that, your experiences has made you into a more powerful version of yourself yet. Because there's so much more to go, and I'm sure all of us,
we are constantly evolving.
Yes, we are evolving, yeah. But when it comes to women, what I've seen is when they go through tough phases, they don't have, that thought, that belief that, okay, I will come out of this more powerfully. Like, that is not there in their minds. So is there anything you would like to tell as a message to those kind of women?
So, okay, this whenever I had a very difficult time, I told myself, okay, this is a time before this 2022, sometime in 2017, when I didn't have so much of guts and clarity. It was even before, right? Again, something which I didn't expect happened, and I was not okay. I was in a very low place. The only thought that helped me is that I told myself, this is not the last page of my book. This is just an end of this chapter. And the next chapter, I'm going to be this glorious person again. So what happens is, when we hit a phase, no, we think life is khatam, finished.
Hmm.
It is not so. See, that is why reading about successful people,
Hmm.
nobody has a graph like this.
Correct.
Nobody.
Yeah.
If you think of very powerful figures, sometimes even in business, they'll go to bankruptcy and then they'll come up again. So there is always a second life, there is always a third chance given to you. So it is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So for me, this thought process, this is not the last scene of my movie. It is going to continue.
This is just the
after.
interval.
This is just
Yeah.
the interval,
Yeah.
or movie
Yeah.
baki hai, like
Yeah.
that Shah Rukh Khan says.
Correct.
No?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that one process kept running in my mind.
Yeah.
And it kind
So
of,
the thing is, because you come from a very, an accomplished father, so your family carries a certain name, dignity, and all, So, I mean, now I'm sure it would be different, but earlier, had that thought, been a limiting barrier for you? Like, I cannot take a certain decision because I come from a certain family. Like, this is how my life has to be. It cannot go the other way. Has those kind of thoughts ever? Because it has really been a problem for me. Like, in so many things, like just as simple as me being a life coach today, I was interested, and it's not like I've gotten so much of experience in life. So I had to learn about it. So I did my certifications and all of that. But somewhere, being somebody's daughter, can I do this? I still went for it, yes. But has that ever happened to you?
so I told you that after one particular point,
Mm-hmm.
I feel that I'm the most powerful version of
Yeah,
myself, right?
yeah, exactly. Today
The breakthrough is realizing
Mm.
that you don't need validation.
Hmm.
You're in your heart of hearts. You have to trust.
Hmm.
You go by your conscience.
Correct.
Okay. See, there are different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Okay. People may use what I'm saying it for a bad cause also.
True.
Right?
True.
But finally, at the end of the day, you have to answer to your
Conscience. Yeah.
conscience,
Yeah.
and you do the fair thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you do not need anybody to validate you.
Yeah. That's right.
People are going to talk no matter what.
Hmm.
No matter what you do, people are going to talk. People are going to have a comment.
Hmm.
So you might as well as do something big and stupid rather
Yeah.
than doing something small.
Yeah.
Because they're going to comment on this, they're going to comment on that.
True.
Big
True.
and stupid in the sense, stupid for them.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. If you see, all the big inventions
Hmm.
have been called stupid first
Hmm.
because people were not able to understand. Okay. 50 years back, 60 years back, if somebody has spoken about the power of cell phone or AI,
Yeah.
that idea would have been called stupid only.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Mm.
What matters is what you want to do.
Mm.
And then, but the responsibility is on you to make it successful.
That's true. Yeah.
In this
Yeah.
world, there is no right or wrong,
Mm.
but that is success and not being successful. You make it work. It is
You
your
may
responsibility.
you make it work.
You
Yeah.
have to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. So
And the same person will come and say, "Oh my God, you're
Yeah.
such an inspiration," and then you have to advise my so and so, etc.,
yeah.
etc.
Yeah. So is this the transformation from the people pleasing? I mean, I don't know if you were a people pleaser, but from what you're saying, I'm
Not
assuming-
people pleasing.
Yeah.
See, I realized that many of the decisions which were not supported earlier were actually right.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, it's just that the environment I was in,
Hmm.
it
Got
kept it actually fooled me.
Hmm.
What happens is when you're in a group of people, you have a chance if 50% support you, 50% don't support you. But you don't have a chance when 99% don't support you and you are the only person for yourself.
And have you been in such a situation?
Yes.
Okay.
And then when I realized, oh my God, I was right all this while and this 99% were actually wrong. That was the breakthrough.
Okay.
When I realized that, then I realized the power of your, self-belief, the power of intuition. And that was a game changer.
Oh, amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So, Were there any painful situations in your life that actually became like your greatest blessing? Like, this put me through a lot of pain, but this situation turned out to be my greatest blessing.
Okay. So I will not go into specifics, but I will just tell you the lessons that I learned.
Yeah.
Okay. So one is your people, especially sometimes it can be family, sometimes it can be your colleagues or your boss, or sometimes it can be your close friend. They like the version of you whom they could control.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah.
So they always see you that way,
yeah.
right? So it's a very conditional kind of a love. Okay, if you are this, if you listen to me, then you will have my blessing and I will do things for you. To break out of that, it was one very, very painful. Because why painful is because it is the people you love, right? The second painful situation is when I had to come out of a toxic marriage. I did not have any support.
From your family?
Yes. And also, basically, it's because of what the society will say, etc., etc. And then telling you or trying to convince you with a lot of force and with a lot of conviction that you're wrong, you're doing something wrong, when you know, heart of hearts, that it is the right decision. So, without any such support, me coming out and me actually breaking free and being a very, very happy version, the happier version, is again one thing that was a painful, but after coming out, it's a blessing.
Got it. So, because you mentioned that even your own family was having a lot of conviction when they were convincing you to stay in a bad relationship, and you somehow broke and you came out. So, now is there support from the same people, or are they still with, no, but I still don't think this shouldn't have happened? Or are they quite like supportive
See,
now?
there are people who will come to you with a lot of support. There are people, again, in every wake of life, every walk of life, if you wait for support, it will not come. If you don't wait for support, everybody will support you.
Got it.
Actually, that is a kind of twist.
So while there was research going on about you before we could get you into the podcast, during the research, one of the things that I noticed that you have spoken is that start small, don't wait for perfection. So has this mindset served you in your business?
Okay, now I was at the board of a 5,000 crore company. Okay, and I was in the involved in all the decision making. Like I said, when my father was there, and even after he passed away, proper corporate setup. Probably this venture of my dad started in 1985. Okay, I was in a corporate setup. But in 2017, when I wanted to start my own business, okay, 100 fears, 100 questions came into mind. And that is when I realized that I needed my dad the most, because when he started, he would have had all these fears, all these uncertainty. In fact, any businessman who starts will have the same fears.
Yeah.
Will this work? What will happen? See, you can do how much ever research you want, but can you draw the business map for 5 years, for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? You cannot.
No way.
You will not know.
Yeah.
You have to go with a conviction that you're going to make it work.
Yeah.
So that is the time I never had such conversations with him. We always think, we have a lot of time. Be it parents, be it mentors, even the mentors who helped me, 2 of them are no more. They both passed away the last 2 months.
Okay.
And both of them, I wanted to go have a conversation. So one of them was so sudden. Okay, so we always think we have a lot of time to discuss such things with the people that we value and we think as our teachers, mentors, but you should do it. So I never had these questions, difficult things with my dad. But what I did is, so I had so many doubts. And of course, some of my father's business friends, I spoke to them, etc., etc. Then I read about. So this uncertainty is certain in every business journey, in every entrepreneur's journey. When you start a business, you have to overcome that. So what makes things easy is, okay, you may have funding, you may not have funding. Even if you have funding, instead of spending a lot upfront, you learn. Even if you know a particular field, okay, being an entrepreneur is a new thing to you, right? In that
Correct.
particular
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
So you start small. You're doing yourself a favor. This is just one of the strategies for you to open the door and walk through it instead of sitting and staring at the closed door.
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
So you're making it easy for yourself. So that is one. And number two is, I told you that expecting perfectionism in everything, that's not going to happen. You need not be perfect. Imperfection is accepted. Imperfection is okay. In fact, I am learning that acting fast, quick decision making, going into it, even if you're prepared or not prepared, but having the drive and going fast, this has been one of the traits of all successful people. What differentiates billionaires from others is this:
They act fast.
they act fast. See, sometimes I'll get some message. I will take my time. I used to take time, to kind of research on it, and before replying, I'll also forget about it. Okay, but I have seen some people, I have seen a mentor of mine, a very close guide of mine. He will respond immediately. Quick, fatafat, he'll respond. So the only hitch is, in 10 such responses, 1 or 2 may be wrong because of the hastiness.
Yeah.
But you're responding for 8 on time, and 8 things are moving ahead.
Yeah.
But what I'll do, I'll take time for every one of the 10 things.
Got it.
And probably I will do 4 or 5 on time. See, 8 is bigger than 5, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this is a difference. So
Got it.
don't expect perfectionism. Just go for it. You will learn. You will make mistakes. Mistakes only will teach you. You learn a lot. So that is one. And second is, I always, when you have more number of people working for you, your leadership style, we all think that being a very aggressive leader only works. It's not that. You need not be aggressive. You need not have, use harsh words. You need not do all of that. You be very assertive, and what do you call this? A very collaborative leadership.
Got
A very communicative, collaborative. You take people on your side, right? You kind of explain to them. You work as a family. Everybody works for the end result. You communicate better. You clearly communicate what is expected out of them, and define clear targets and incentivize based on the targets. So don't have centralized decision making. Allow people, delegate your work, allow people to be leaders, grow them as leaders. So all this is some of the learnings that I've learned in my business life.
Oh, amazing. Like, this is something I personally feel I needed to hear at this point, because this makes so much sense. Because the one thing that I always kept feeling in these past 2 years is that, why is the team not as, proactive and, inspired like I am? I mean, if a task is given, they do complete the task so phenomenally well. That is always there. But they are not inspired to take the company forward, except a very few of them. The rest of them, they just follow orders. So, so what you just said, probably, defining clear targets and incentives based on whether they achieve that, I think that would go a long way. But do you have anything else to tell me personally? I mean, this is personally for me as well.
So one thing is, what differentiates a founder. Okay. See, I believe that you should have people who are smarter than you.
Yeah.
In your workplace, you should have the confidence and the self-confidence to do that, because it is not humanly possible to know about every single thing
True.
of running a business.
Yeah.
So I personally, I would like, all my people to be smarter than me. Okay. But what differentiates a founder from the others is the vision. Okay. And number two is the energy that you carry, the vibe, the energy, the aura that you carry. A founder's energy is what
Propels the.
not just propels, you kind of you give it to the other person.
Okay, yeah.
The
got
others
it.
get it from
It's
you.
like magnetic.
You have to that should guide the
Got
entire
it.
team.
Got it. So yes, like you mentioned, we all evolve, and we change. Like as we grow, we change and all of that. If you are asked to name 3 specific characteristics of yours that while you had such qualities, you were actually struggling, but then now that you've had a shift with these 3 qualities and you've become a different person, like now life is much better. What do you think those 3 characteristics are?
Okay, so one is business oriented, work oriented. The other 2 is for life. So for life, one is I was shrinking myself. I was dimming my light for other people to shine. If another person wants to shine as equal as you or more than you, they have to come up.
Correct.
We should not go down for them to feel
Better about themselves.
because that ending has no there is
There's
no
no-
end for that.
yeah.
You just need to
Yeah.
you will shrink, you will dim your light,
To feed their ego. Yeah.
and then you're going in the opposite direction. See, ultimately all of us, this journey of human life is to become the best version of yourself, to evolve, to move into the next step, right? But then you're not going that direction, you're going in the
Correct.
opposite direction. You're
Correct.
going to feel so bad about yourself. Things are not going to go your way. You'll continuously start questioning your self-worth. There is no peace in life. You don't like where you are and what you do. Okay, so that is one. So once I realized that. Number 2 is I also realized that you being you, sometimes your your aura or your light is going to irritate some people because it's going to instigate the parts of them that they don't like about themselves. Okay, so for no reason they will be angry at you. For no reason they are going to find faults with you.
I so can relate with this. Yeah.
Okay. I used to, in fact, so I was made in those circumstances. I was made to feel that as though I have done some mistake, but actually there would not be any mistake of mine. So I have gone and said sorry. I have just to salvage the relationship, just because I wanted that, because I love that person so much.
I understand.
So you keep compromising. So the other person just keeps getting angry, just keeps talking bad about you, behind you. So then you form the boundaries. Then you say, okay, these are the people that they're going to sit in a different table in the same restaurant. We can't chuck everybody out of life.
Correct.
So if life is a restaurant, you choose the people who will sit at your table.
At your table.
Where
Correct.
you'll be sharing food.
Yeah.
Other people can sit in other tables.
Yeah.
We can just say hi, bye.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is another lesson. So work-oriented lesson is I was trying to do everything myself because obviously you'll not find others who can do it as good as you, right? So doing everybody's work, stressing yourself. Finally, many founders make this mistake. Many entrepreneurs make this mistake. They will do other people's work and they will not do what a founder is supposed to do. One is carry that energy. Number 2 is to aspire, to have the vision, to lead the team. You're so busy, you're so stressed out, you're so, your day is filled with doing your team's work.
Correct.
That there is nobody else to do your work.
True.
Even to create funding, even to create opportunities. All that is founders' work.
True. That's very true. Absolutely. So we've spoken so much about your work. Now a little bit towards family. You are a mother. Yeah. So how do you bring in the work-life balance, balancing motherhood as well as your work as a founder?
Okay, I've spoken about this a lot. So initially, I wanted to be this super mom. Again, something to do with how people, see you, right?
Yeah.
Because for a woman, there is always this guilt.
Correct.
I don't know, this society and the relatives and whatever they do that to you.
From the children as well. Like I was getting ready
No,
for
that
this.
is because you are not very firm with them.
Okay.
Seriously, even kids also. See,
Yeah.
when you strongly believe something, okay, I need my time. Okay, my time is not your time. My time. I need this. And I am right in deserving this time. When you're so strong about that feeling, even a child cannot make you feel guilty.
Okay.
But again, it helps when somebody else resonates with you or somebody else echoes the same thing.
True. Yeah.
See, if somebody in your house says, Malika, you deserve this time. What are you doing? Why are you spending all your times with the children? Go out, yeah, go with the friends or rest. If somebody says that, then you will feel that, okay.
Yeah. Like.
But no, you will not have people tell you. You have to tell it yourself.
Yeah.
So initially, I was trying to balance or not balance. I was trying to do everything perfectly, but balance or perfection or this work-life balance, this priority or only priority exists. Balance doesn't exist.
Okay.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. So when you say only priority exists, like, do you like take like a few days off a month and think like, okay, now I'm going to focus on my role as a mother, or you don't?
No. See, children, there are certain days a child needs you the most.
Yeah.
Especially the days they are unwell or something at school or, emotionally, they need you more, etc., etc. So I have sat at a doctor's office at Monday morning, 9 o'clock for a vaccination. I have also worked on a Sunday.
Got it.
Okay, so being a founder, there are a lot of difficulties. In everything in life has its own pros and cons. So being a founder has its pros, has its cons, and one of the pros is having flexibility.
Understood. Yeah. But there will be days where, we won't even feel like, moving an inch, but we still show up. So during those days, would you like show up with the thing that, okay, I'm just going to show up, or would you tell yourself something to motivate yourself better?
One thing that has helped me, I am this kind of a person. I'll always like to show the best version of myself. Right? So you commented on me dressing up for the part. Even if you see my, videos that I put out.
Absolutely. I think on the phone also I did mention that.
Yes. So one is, of course, it's a respect I show because this is important to me. But it is also about putting my best version of myself wherever I go, whatever I do. So if the best, even I tell my children, I don't care if you win or lose. Okay. In fact, sometimes I had to give this gyan that losing is fine because otherwise children will not even attempt to do.
Correct.
Because they're so scared of failures, they will not even attempt. If the child is, if they're called out for a football, only if they attempt, if they fall, they will know whether they like it or not, right? So as mothers, we should give that comfort zone for children. Number two is, whatever you do, give your best. If giving your best today, even in the worst kind of days, is 30% instead of 100%, it's okay. As long as it's your best, it's fine.
Yeah. Beautiful. Lovely. So now that, you shared about prioritizing rather than focusing on work-life balance and mom guilt, which is always going to be there and things like that, what do you think is the right way to parent a child?
I think it is subjective to each parent, but there are certain things, which I try or, I follow or certain guidelines. See, we are evolving as a person and even as a parent, right? So I will share you a few of the things. See, one is I've also realized your partner plays a very, very important role in life. Okay, lot of youngsters, they don't realize the importance of having the right partner. Now, how do we actually encourage, or how do we bring up your child to choose a right partner? I saw this video, fantastic. See, when you think that you are 25%, okay, if you think another person loves you 28% or 30%, you're going to be enough with it, because that person is loving you more than you love yourself.
Yeah.
But if you love yourself, if you think your self-worth is 90%, okay, you will find a guy who love you more than 90%.
Correct. Yeah.
So first, parenting your child, okay, telling your child you're 100%, making him or her realize that you're that, then I think you're solving half the problem in their adult life. Then when you think you're 100, you will not choose anybody less than 100.
Right. Right.
So that is one thing, that is going to help build up your child's self-esteem, build up your child's self-worth, confidence. I think that is the most important thing. Number 2 is, I share my experiences, mostly my failures. Because, for example, if I go out of station for a business meet, I share about the place. I share a lot of videos, photos. Okay. So it is about making the child feel a part of my life, no matter, even if I'm not there physically. And I share my failures also. From young age, I did this, therefore I did this. I did the stupid thing. What do you think I should have done? Do you think? So, see, ultimately, you don't want your child to do the mistakes that you did.
That's right.
Let him or her do her set of mistakes.
Correct.
But at least your mistakes, what you have learned, you transfer to your child.
Got it.
I think that is the biggest gift you can give your children. Not your money, or not your, they will be okay. But what are the failures, or what are the lessons that you learned? And then how they should not repeat it.
True. True.
And number 3, one very important thing that helped me is, I took my kids to work. See, we're all working, Malika.
Yeah.
You have a daughter, right?
Yeah.
So morning you leave to work, or you leave to work. Today being a holiday, you're here.
Yes.
Right? So the child has no idea of where the mother is.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what a podcast is. She doesn't know where you are.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the importance.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the impact that you create.
Yeah.
Okay. So even my kids also, earlier, they know that right from the first month after they were born, I started working. Okay, so they're used to me working, but they have no clue where I am, what is the impact I create. So I took my elder one to my factory and my office. Okay. Fortunately, there were other people there who had come for a factory visit. And they were going on and on about how beautiful the setup is, etc., etc. She was so proud that her mother has created such a huge thing. Then I put her, in internship to know about business, so she used to sit for 10 days during her holidays. She used to see people come to have discussions, and what I talk, what are the directions I give, etc., etc. So this is with my elder one. Okay, she suddenly started having this big respect on what I do, etc., etc.
Oh, nice.
My younger one also, when she was like my youngest one, 4 or 5, I took her. Now she knows what an office looks like, and she knows what I do. So the next time when I tell her, Kana, I'm going to office, or I'm going to factory, in her mind she knows. This is what Amma is doing. This is how she will be. What she's doing is important. So so when I put a post on this, and there was this request that I should give this opportunity to others. So for my for my employees, for people who work for me, I created this opportunity during Navaratri, these 9 days. People are welcome to bring their family and children in the evening to visit our office Kolu, and we have some gifts for them, some games for them.
Oh, nice.
It's also an opportunity for them to interact with their parents, friends. so that they have that, when they have the interaction, obviously they will be talk about what their parent is doing, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
So taking your children to work, giving them that mindset is very, very important
Super.
for working women, especially.
Amazing, amazing. And while you do this, like you're taking them to work and all of that, is there like a vision you have for your children and you want them to pursue that, or you're like, maybe you want your children to get into business, or it has got nothing to do with your vision for them, rather the only sole reason is for them to understand what happens behind, beyond the house.
Okay, now another realization I've had in my life is my life was entirely crafted or designed, okay, to pursue my dad's dreams and visions. But there is one point I realized that his dreams are different, his vision is different. He as a soul, he is a different soul, and my purpose, my soul is different. Okay, so it's about pursuing my dream, my vision. Even if they don't match, it's okay. Ultimately, you shine, you be the best of yourself.
Correct.
So I've realized that. Okay, so I definitely I will not put that
The pressure,
or the burden,
expectation.
the expectation. It's what they want to do.
Super.
But my duty as a parent is to again help them become the best version of themselves and to be a very strong leader, create a good impact on the society, help as many people as possible, make an impact on as many humans as possible, even after I'm gone.
Wonderful, wonderful. So when we talk about children, the very big shift that I have noticed from who I was as a person, how were my siblings when we were young, to the children of today's generation is that they talk a lot about having trauma and anxiety and depression, and how do you think we as a parent can tackle that?
Two things that I've noticed is one is I think we as adults, we have to sort out our own thought process, our own mental issues. We have to sort out a lot of things ourselves.
True.
Because children learn the most from observing and from emulating. So if you're going to have anger issues, a child is going to think that it's okay, right? Number two is, I feel we as parents are so guilty because the lot of guilt is imbibed into us because we work, we don't spend time with children, etc., etc. Because we feel so guilty that we are not giving complete, attention to the children, we are very scared to correct them also.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Okay, so we are where the child needs to be corrected, where the child needs to be disciplined. I think we have to be assertive. We have to say no. No is not just about boundaries, but even saying no to children is also important.
True. Absolutely.
Because if the child is not going to accept the no in the house, how the child is going to accept the no in the society?
So the one thing that what I saw even I agree to what you're saying, but one thing I saw in contradiction to what you just said is that children should not see disappointment at home, because only then, no matter what happens in the outside world, they will feel that I have a safe space where I can get to. Otherwise, they're going to get scared of the parents and they might not open up to the parents. So what is your take on that?
At home, whatever the child is used to, outside in the society, if there is something new outside going on, it's very difficult for the child to cope up.
Yeah.
Okay. Say, for example, you have set of rules. See, what happens outside your home, you cannot control.
Yeah.
But you can control your reaction to what happens outside. Okay. Say we have certain things like we try and fail. Or if the parents say, no, you cannot have this now, you can have it only later. If the child is used to some disappointments, okay, the child will be okay with not getting their way outside also. If the child has to work to get something, then the child will work there also to get that something.
Correct.
if you make it very easy, if you spoon feed the child, if you give it too easy, then it's the same expectation the child is going to have outside, right?
Carry to the outside world. Correct.
But it's not you, it's outside, it's a very, very harsh world.
Yes.
You will not be, nobody is going to be sweet to you.
Yeah.
So just imagine how the child will feel.
So I agree. When it comes to any kind of a partnership, it can be any partnership, what is the kind of power do you think a woman carries there?
So life itself, I would say, between two partners is I would call the partner also a co-founder only. In a relationship also. So in work also, in business also, if you're having a partnership, that's again co-founding a company. So women we never have it easy. Okay, right from childhood in our society, we have to fight, we have to put 200% more efforts to get the same thing, whether you like it or not. It happens in all layers of society. We often get a no, but we don't take the no and keep quiet. We fight and we fight, we rephrase it, we kind of go here and there, we kind of fight. So that is a kind of grit and determination and that resilience that you have. It is inbuilt from childhood.
Yeah.
Right? So that resilience and grit is very, very important for running a business, because business is not going to go, in a good way all the time. There is going to be ups and downs.
Yeah.
So during the down, you should have that resilience to overcome that. See, this is the same kind of resilience I'm telling you that you need to bring up in your child also.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is one. Number two is, I feel that we women have this intuitive power. It's just that we are not tuning into it. We have to silence all the noise and hear that inner voice. So that intuitive power, sometimes you can, in fact, your partner will need you to guide them also. That intuitive, that spiritually. Number three is, we have a very nice way of communicating, getting things done. So communication is a very positive thing. Sometimes just by the body language you will know how to communicate. So that also works very well in business. If you're meeting a client or if you're meeting a bank or whatever, you read between the lines. Body language is so important. Then you know what to say. Or even communicating to employees. That's very, very,
Superb.
So for me, and many men agree to this, Malika. Many alphas agree to this. Men and women are not equal. Women are more powerful.
So I agree. Very nice. So when you spoke about silencing yourself, is there certain rituals that you do on a daily basis, like you meditate? Is there anything like that specific that you do?
I want to be honest. I want to meditate every day, but most of the days I try to meditate. But see, even while walking, some of my best ideas come during my walk, or when I'm, many people will tell you that when they're taking bath, when you're in a shower, you get the best ideas.
Yeah.
But you keep thinking, you keep analyzing. I have this habit. So even when I go to a meeting and come back, there are certain things, if I'm not able to connect the dots, I'll keep analyzing and analyzing and analyzing. You need another person to talk it out to. It becomes easy. Till I connect the dots, till I know why, till I'm satisfied, I'll keep analyzing about it. So every single thing, if you keep analyzing, it's very interesting. We learn a lot of things.
Got it. So there are so many women who do have big dreams, but they keep feeling like they are not enough. Like, that's not going to work for them. They don't feel good enough about themselves. So what is your piece of, if you have to share a piece of your mind with them, what would that be?
Okay. Two things. It doesn't matter if an external person is making you that you're not enough. No. I mean, external validation, cut it out. So usually what happens is, we are not at peace when we ourselves, you put it correctly, when we ourselves think that we are not enough.
Yeah.
The best thing that will actually help you is action, acting on it. Go immediately into action. Do something. progressively. Do something progressively. If some task is very, very difficult, you act on it. Sometimes you're so scared of the task, you're
Yeah.
so scared of the meeting, you're
Yeah.
so scared of the conversation that we keep avoiding it.
That overwhelm stops you from even
Correct,
like
correct.
going
See, for
forward.
me, conflict management is something I was really, really afraid of. I used to not be okay with having loud voices in a meeting or in a room. I would avoid the conflict. But now I started managing it. In fact, more of the conflict is how you practice to be okay with it. Right? So, anything that you're scared of, attack it. Action will help you more and more confident. You know what happens when you act on it, you will figure out a little bit.
Correct.
That knowledge will make you have that less of that feeling. The next, when you have that knowledge, the next step is extra knowledge, or you will have a small victory.
Correct.
That victory will make you a little more confident.
Yeah.
Then you go forward.
So action is
It
the
is
only
actually
way.
having the headlight only to see a little bit. You can just take one step.
Yeah.
You may not see the entire way,
Yeah.
but that small amount of light to take one step is enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So while we were talking, there was this one place where you mentioned that women, not just as women, but in general, there are so many of us, especially women, who shrink ourselves to fit into places, to make another person feel better about themselves, to satisfy their ego, to feed their ego rather. So we do things like that, right? So so while we do that, we end up becoming people pleasers. We end up apologizing in so many places where it wouldn't have even been our fault to begin with. So what do you think, or rather, where do you think, I can put it both ways. Where do you think and what do you think are the things that a woman should never apologize for?
Okay, I'm
Who are
going to
watching
have
this?
a different take on it. See, one of the basics of being a decent human being is you be honest to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. People, what they generally do is, the reason for doing something will be completely different, but they justify it to themselves that they're doing it for a right cause. Even hurting somebody, they will justify it to themselves.
Yeah.
Because he did this,
Yeah.
the other time I'm
Yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
or, because to save, whatever. So, you be truthful to yourself you be honest to yourself about the intention or the reason for doing something. When you're honest with yourself, then there is a clarity. In that clarity, if you think that you have been fair, you're on the right path, and that there is nothing that you have done wrong, I feel you should not apologize.
Beautiful. That's a very beautiful answer. Yeah.
The only exception is to the person you truly love and the person who truly loves you back.
Yeah.
Sometimes, when you love somebody and when that person loves you so much, conflict resolving requires you to, say, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's okay to be a sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's a two-way street.
Correct. Yeah.
One person shouldn't always say sorry, even
Yeah.
if they've not done a mistake, and
Yeah.
not for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, in the interest of, moving ahead in a relationship.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
Superb. So it the dynamics of what we share with the person also matters in letting go. Yeah.
But the core thing is, if you feel that you have not done a mistake,
Yeah.
you should not ask sorry.
Correct. I have this one question. So this is an issue that I have been seeing through all these years of me being a life coach for women. Almost every week, minimum 10 women come to me with this one problem in their life. And that is, they know that they are in a toxic marriage. Most marriages where the partner, the husband, has an affair or has multiple other partners and things like that, which is emotionally very, very, like the women break. It's emotionally very exhausting to even exist in the same house as the partner. But they still keep being in those marriages because of this one reason, and that is they are not financially stable. Now, when any woman who is having this financial stability, for her to take a decision is so different from any woman who suffers, who's having this financial instability, like she has no financial freedom. So is there anything you would like to tell to those women?
See, it's a very difficult situation to be in.
Yes.
Right? So, talking about it is definitely easier than living that
Absolutely,
particular
yes.
life. But or let me put it, we have progressed as a society so much that, women working, women finding different avenues of work is so easy now. Just think about it, how it was like 50, 60 years back when it was a taboo.
Yeah.
And now, every woman works. It is now seen as a very different thing if you don't work, right? So in such a situation, you will have to find a way to be financially independent, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, all you're going to do is talk about it, complain about it,
Be a victim.
be a victim mentality. There are two mentalities. Who said this? A woman can be either a victim or a villain.
Okay, I was assuming you're going to say victor, but then a villain. Okay.
Women, victim or a villain. See, some women, I feel, I have interacted with many of them, they like being the victim.
True. Because
somebody calls them pavam.
And I feel it is because there is this freedom of not taking responsibility. Because when you take responsibility, you'll have to show up for yourself.
Also, when you move from the victim bench, you automatically become a villain.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm telling you, happily be a villain.
Good.
Okay. The life will change.
Very nice. Very nice. So you have shared a lot of wisdom in this podcast. Like, thanks for that. Is there one strong message that you would love to end this podcast with? That this is, and for women, this is one message that I really want to tell women. Is there something like that?
Can I make it 3?
Absolutely. I'd be happy.
So one is, there are a lot of mistakes we would have done in the past. Okay. Don't go back and be hard on yourself. Love yourself more. Number 2, life is going to put you in difficult situations. So when you're going through the difficult situations, just concentrate on handling yourself with as much grace as possible. So you'll come out of it gracefully. Number 3, don't dim your light for anybody else. This is your life. You are the heroine of this movie called life. Your entire reality is based on you, around you, for you. So life is happening for you. So enjoy life, be happy, don't dim your light.
Oh, that was amazing. I feel this podcast, personally, I feel so glad that I'm getting this from you here. As you were saying, I was reflecting like, oh my God, this is right, that is right, and things like that. And because of that very reason, I'm sure this is going to be super useful to all the women who are watching this YouTube video. And thank you so much once again for doing this for me. It truly means a lot. And thank
Very
you so
kind
much.
of you, Malika. Thank you so much for inviting.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
Super.
Thank you for making me very comfortable. And I'm hoping that at least, the reason for me doing this is, if one person benefits out of this, I'll be very happy.
It will.
Thanks for giving me a platform to share my thoughts. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Yeah.